Hey everyone, Jesse Kove here. I play Jake Pike in President Down, which is available now on Tubi, and you're watching me on MovieJunk.
Hi, Jesse. Welcome back to Movie Junk. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for making your return. It's actually round two of having you on our podcast. It's an honor to welcome Jesse Kove back on. And I know the last time that we met, we were discussing A Taste of Love with Susan Gallagher and also your father. So excited to talk about President Down today.
Very different movie. Taste
hmm
of Love.
hmm
Very different. A lot more danger.
Definitely, definitely. And I'm super excited to talk about it with you. Before we kick off, I did want to ask, because I know we're still in summer. Summer's almost wrapping up, and I do want to ask, have you knocked off everything that is on your summer bucket list, or is there still something that you're looking to do?
I feel like I've knocked off so much that I want to do. I've been really lucky. I was filming a lot this summer. I did two movies over the summer, which I'm excited about, and I'm very fortunate. I've done a lot. I'm ready for the fall season. I want to get my leather jackets back on. I want to put on some warm, comfy clothes, get a fire going. I love Halloween, so I love going into the holiday season. So I'm ready for it. I'm done with the heat. I want to get some cool air going down here.
Definitely, definitely. Now, I know we were just chatting about this as well too. I know we had did our last podcast, and coincidentally, again, this is unplanned. I live in the Bay Area, but we actually had a chance to bump in person right after our podcast.
I cannot believe that we actually bumped into each other outside of the Air One here in Studio City. I was going to the grocery store and you were like, Jesse. And I was like, wait, what? Who's that? And then I couldn't believe it. We had just done our interview too, which was crazy.
Definitely, definitely. And I know they mention Sugarfish on Cobra Kai, so made it into SoCal. Stopped at Sugarfish was the first stop. Walked right out and bumped into Jesse, so that was awesome. I think it's a sign that we might have to do an in-person interview next time.
I would be so up for that. That would be great. I'd love to.
I do want to jump into President Down, but before I do, I can't help myself. The fan in me has to just quickly jump into Cobra Kai since it's
Yeah.
done. Series is finished. I do want to ask, did the finale live up to your expectations?
I I really believe it did. I have talked to my dad about this before. What's funny is they actually shot an alternate ending. I don't know if you know this or not, but I think my dad's talked about this before. They shot an alternate ending where you actually go to a newsstand and you see that Terry Silver was, killed, and then you see my dad's hand with his ring pick up the magazine and open it. And they did shoot that. I still think it could have worked really well in the ending of the show. I think it would have been a nice little payoff for Kreese's character because, he's just a survivor. But I still think a question is up in the air whether he's, still alive or not. I think most people want him to be alive. But I think what they did with the show and with Billy and Ralph and all the other actors, Tanner and Mary and Sholo and Jacob and Peyton, what they did for all their payoffs was just amazing. I mean, the fact that my dad's character was able to kind of like, you know, give that give his honor back to Billy Zabka at the end, and they embrace each other, and he donates the dojo to him. And I mean, it was such an emotional ending to that show. It was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. And John, Josh, and Hayden did an unbelievable job of choreographing that entire emotional roller coaster with that.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I'll admit it. I mean, I had just a couple tears when I was watching that scene with Kreese and Johnny, because you're just seeing, 40 years of just build up and all the emotion that took place and just seeing it. And as a fan and also as a son, I'd love to hear what was it like as a fan of the series, watching that emotional scene and that payoff, and then also seeing your dad get emotional in that scene. I'd love to hear your feedback on both
Yeah,
perspectives.
yeah, as a fan, I loved watching it. I can kind of separate myself and look at it, introspectively from an outside perspective. And it was such a great payoff for both characters and such an honor, for both characters to be able to have that. I mean, I don't think when have we ever seen something that was 40 years in the making like that? I mean, I can't remember the last time we've seen something like that.
Yeah.
A continuation of that. It's so much history there. And it was definitely emotional for me to watch it like that. It was beautiful. The work between Billy Zabka and my dad was so wonderful to watch. It was so moving. And I know that it was personally moving for both of them as well. I remember talking to my dad before he did all that scene, and I asked him how it all went, and he just was like, "Oh, Billy and I, we so enjoyed doing the scene. We were so emotional, and it was kind of like, it was very personal to them as well.
Yeah,
So what you were seeing on screen is like almost literally what how they kind of felt inside over the last 40 years. Because my dad hasn't always wanted to be this villainous character of John Kreese. That's why there's pieces of him that have come out in a
yeah,
really cool way. So for him to be able to do that for Billy was great. And then for, my dad has kind of been this kind of, they're best friends, but he's kind of been this older mentor to Billy in certain ways in real life. And so it was a really cool thing to capture. And it was just such a beautiful piece of cinema and friendship and actors and artists caught in that moment. So it was
yeah.
amazing.
Hmm.
How you felt is how we felt.
Yep. Yep. And I don't know if I would change much, with that finale, but after seeing that emotional scene, part of me really wanted to see Kreese sort of giving the instructions of sort of being the sensei in that final match. I think it still worked. I think it still worked great. But part of me really wanted to see him and Johnny sort of reunite for one last match to get that victory before everything was done. But I still think it wrapped up perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, he had to take Terry out. That was his last, skeleton in the closet kind of thing to just get rid of and forever. And I think it all worked out really well. I remember I was on the boat that day that they shot that scene. I was there when they did it, and it was a really cool moment. I actually don't even know if I've talked about this, but it was Ralph and myself, my sister, and the three of us were watching the boat go away as Terry and my dad and the crew were on the boat.
Wow.
And it's kind of this really surreal moment of all of us kind of, and Ralph had actually just finished shooting that day with Billy, their last scenes together, of Cobra Kai completely. Like it was the last day, and then we watched them go do this final scene, and that was literally the last day of Cobra Kai was that fight sequence on the boat where my
Wow.
dad fights Terry. So that was it. They ended the show, in real life and and the story wise. So it was really all the whole thing was very special. Just a very, very special. We still talk about it today and now and it almost seems unreal.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm having a hard time believing that Kreese is actually dead. I mean, he's escaped death, I think, three times already. I wouldn't be surprised if there wouldn't be a fourth. And the fact that there was that deleted scene, that could be a great entry to a new series of being a beginning scene. So
I agree.
definitely, definitely. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. I know there's discussions around the big three, sort of doing some sort of spin-off or continuing this franchise. So we're really excited. I'm really excited to talk about President Down. Who I had an opportunity to see this movie, and I really loved it. I mean, it's a mixture of like Mission Impossible, action-packed thriller. You're literally in almost every scene, just really, really intense scenes. Just knowing sort of, I don't know if we've seen a film that sort of tackled, medical devices and cybersecurity sort of getting hacked. This taps into IoT, which is a very real thing. And I know we've seen a lot of AI films
Yep.
recently, but we haven't seen, when medical devices get hacked. And with the president, right? What happens if it's the president? So I'd love to hear how you first heard about this project and your preparation that went into this role, because it was a very physical role for you in this film.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that I was so grateful for is Nick Lyon, the director. He came in and he had called me and told me that he wanted me to be a part of this movie, and he basically was like, he's like, Jesse, I have this movie. It's going to be a really physically taxing movie, and it's an emotional ride, and there's a lot of action in it, and I know you can do this, and I want to do it with you. And we had done D-Day, Battle of Omaha Beach together, which was also extremely physical movie and a great story. And Nick was amazing for that movie. I mean, he made such a great film, and so anything that he brings to the table, I just trust his whole vision. And so I was really excited to do this with him, and I was also just really humbled, that he called and wanted to do this, and it was just such a perfect piece, his vision and the things that I wanted to bring to the table. And I had so much fun working with him on this and how that came out. And it was definitely a task. You know, I did a lot of studying of the Secret Service and what they do, and you know their loyalty and their unwavering selflessness of what they do to protect, you know, the presidents and our presidents that we've had. It's an amazing world, and I really wanted to, you know, portray that as best I could, you know, for the people that watch, and you know their willingness to just give everything. That was a lot of the part of the what I wanted to channel as my character Jake Pike was really just his relentlessness to get the job done, you know, no matter what. And that's true to the heart of these amazing men and women who are in the Secret Service. So that was how the movie came to be, you know, getting me cast in the film and working with them, and it was awesome, just so much fun.
Hmm. Hmm. And we had quite an exciting, cast. We got a Baywatch star in this film, and David Kochiji, and also Gail O'Grady from NYPD Blue. I mean, this is an exciting cast. And actually, he was the one that actually recruited you. And I'm trying to not give away too many spoilers, but he recruited you in the Secret Service, and excited to see the dynamics between your two characters. What was it like working with David?
Working with David Chokichi was great. You know, he's a great actor. He cares a lot about what he's doing, and you know, we had the funny thing about that is we had a lot of mutual friends that said, "Oh, you and David got to get together months before this," because he works with this amazing animal rescue organization called um, uh, Wings of Rescue, and they basically fly dogs in an airplane all around the country and the world to get them, you know, basically in homes and away from, you know, these horrible areas that they're in. And he's just amazing that he works with this incredible rescue organization. And I also work with my own different rescue organizations that I do to help rescue animals. So we had this amazing bond right away. We started talking, and on set, you know, we were laughing because people kept saying, "You guys got to get together," and then all of a sudden we messaged each other on Instagram and we're like, "Hey, are we doing this movie together?" And he's like, "Yeah," and we just became like instant best friends. And you know, he and I were we worked really hard on this together. Every scene we had this great chemistry between us.
Yeah.
And in between the takes, we would talk about dog rescue and like,
Wow.
you know, he is very much into like biohacking and your health. And he was doing yoga in between sets and on breaks, which I thought was super commendable. I wish I was like, dude, I wish I could do that. You
He's
know, I
still in
even
great shape too.
he looks amazing.
Mhm.
You know, David, when you watch this, dude, you're amazing, brother. You look incredible. And so it's wonderful what he's done for his body and his health and his mind. He's the same as he was in Baywatch. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was great working with him. You know, we've become very close in real life, and we've enjoyed, you know, talking about this movie together. And you know, we have also been chatting about maybe doing like a prequel or something, and how the two of us maybe met and how that relationship started, which was great. So, you know, fingers crossed, we'll see where that goes. But it's been so fun working with him. He's such a humble guy. He cares so much about his craft, and he's one of the good guys. He really is. I'm so proud to have done this with him, and we had a blast doing this together.
Hmm. Hmm. And again, try not to give too many spoilers away, but there's a very intense airplane scene a little bit towards the end, and there's a well, one, I want to know what went into filming that scene, but there's a scene that takes place where your co-star does something that surprises you, and there's a reaction on your face where you're like, "Whoa, did you just do that?" Your face was the same facial expression that I made when I was situation, how impressive it was. I'd love to hear sort of like what went into the preparation of that airplane scene because that was really intense.
It was thanks, man. You know, when we were reading the script, I kept thinking to myself, how are they going to do this? How are they going to pull this off? And they did. You know, Nick had these great ideas, and you know, they had me in a harness, hanging like, you know, 12 feet in the air,
Yeah.
15 feet in the air, and they literally had like half of an airplane inside of a soundstage, and they literally had me, you know, up against this plane with like these magnetic suction cup things. I mean, it was basically like my Mission Impossible moment, which was really funny. Although I wasn't really on the plane as it was taking off. But one day, maybe I'll try that. But it was pretty amazing, and we had, you know, incredible stunt coordinators that were doing this as well. and they had me attached to this giant forklift that was really high, 20 feet in the air, and I was swinging on this thing and had to crash into the plane. And because for people that will watch this, I literally have to jump from one plane to another,
Yeah.
from a private jet to Air Force One mid-air. And I mean, it's believable, I think, the way
Mhm.
they did it, which was
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, that's what we do in action movies. We kind of, push the boundaries of what's possible. Um, and it was very cool. And Gina Vittori, who plays, she's, our love interest in the film, where it's kind of a push and pull relationship. She was great in it, and she and I had actually worked together before, which was really nice. So she was fantastic. And Gail O'Grady, who plays the president, was wonderful. But yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns. I know you don't want to give too much away, but I think people will be delightfully surprised when they see what kind of happens towards to the end of the film, the twist that comes about. So
Yeah.
really, a lot of cool stuff in there, a lot of cool fight sequences. And did you have a favorite fight or moment that you liked?
That airplane scene, that exchange between with you and David, I think was my favorite scene.
Yeah.
There's also the scene, again, not trying not to give too much away, but the scene with you and the doctor, that
Mm.
little standoff that happened as well too. So there was just a bunch. There was a bunch. I was just getting a lot of Mission Impossible. I was getting also just like I don't know if you've seen the movie American Ninja back from
Oh
the
yeah.
late 80s. So I was just getting a lot of different feel. I was getting more like late 80s, early 90s action film mixed with today's technology. I really loved it. I really loved it. I know fans are going to be excited. It's on Tubi. It's available on Tubi. So pretty much any streaming device comes with Tubi, so fans can access it. Are there any other applications or streaming services, or is Tubi the main one where fans can see it?
Tubi's the main one right now. It was a co-production with Asylum
Mhm.
Studios, and right now it's just on Tubi, which I'm kind of happy about because it's really easy for people to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it can get complicated of where to watch some of these movies, so I'm happy that people can just download the app and watch it right away with, some small ads. Um, but yeah, it's everywhere. I've got people in Australia and England watching it, which is great, all around the country. But yeah, it's such a fun ride. I'm so glad you liked it. Nick Lyon, the director, he really pulled it off. When you get a chance to work with some of these directors that you just have such good synergy with, it's you're so lucky. And Nick has a great vision of making these things happen. Sometimes I'm on set and he's like, I'm gonna come in there with the camera and they're gonna do a push in, and then sometimes you can't even visualize what he's doing, but you just trust what he's doing, and then you see it later on. You're like, oh my God, this looks so good. I mean,
Yeah.
he really knows what he's doing. I'm so delighted that I get to work with him, and we're gonna do more stuff together. So I don't know. Would you want to see a president down too?
I would. I would. I'm really excited. I mean, you touched on the prequel piece with David. I think that is an exciting element seeing, but I think definitely a part two would be exciting. I'm also curious because you not too long ago, a few years ago, you'd been a part of the Call of Duty franchise.
Mhm.
Did you tap into anything that you learned from making that game? I know this is a film, which coincidentally, I heard that they were actually working on a Call of Duty film as well
Right.
too. I think Paramount is working on that.
Yep.
So I'd love to see if maybe you'll be involved in that. But did you tap into anything from your work in Call of Duty and with this movie?
So because I do a lot of firearms training and I've done competition shooting, this stuff is pretty fairly, easy for me. It's in my wheelhouse, and I also really enjoy it. I love working with firearms and action and stunts. I try to do as much of my own stunts as possible. And it's just something I really enjoy. You get a little dinged up here and there, but
Yeah.
it's all part of the fun. And but definitely the Call of Duty stuff. I mean, you're using that kind of same energy. The Call of Duty is a very like drive and push energy, and this movie totally channels that. So I definitely was using a bit of that as well for Jake Pike's character and trying to accomplish the mission at no holds barred kind of situation.
Definitely, definitely. And again, I recommend fans to check it out. President Down, available on Tubi. Love to hear your feedback. If you want to see a part two, put it in the comments as well. Obviously, the feedback would be appreciated, and we get that over to the producers and folks to bring energy to this and make a sequel to this film. I do want to also touch on because you got a lot of exciting projects that are also in the works. I did mention, the Call of Duty movie taking place. Is there interest of you maybe getting involved with that or any other projects that you're allowed to touch on?
I would love to. I mean, if the Call of Duty comes about, it would be great. I'm sure they'll probably reach out to some of the people that have been involved in the games as well. And I think I it's such a cool IP and such a great storyline. I don't even know where they would go with it, but I think it would be amazing. It would be so much fun. I would, if they call, I will be running. I've got a lot of projects coming out right now. The next one that I just actually wrapped 2 weeks ago, terrific movie called The Last Firefighter, that was with John Voight and Kelsey Grammer,
Wow.
and wonderful, wonderful actress. Her name is Jessica Lord. And we just had it's an incredible movie. It's an uplifting film. It's a great, great drama. Just dealing with firefighters and what they go through. And there's also a really nice twist in that film as well. It's got a spiritual aspect to it too. So I can't wait for people to see that one. That's going to be that'll be coming out. I'm not sure which platform yet, but I think it'll be one of the major streaming ones in February, January, February of next year. And I've also got coming out October 3rd, which we can do another interview with later on, is my new Western, my supernatural Western that I did called A Gunfighter's Deal.
Nice.
That's a really, really cool one with Kevin Sorbo, and excited about that one. It's just a great, great. It's a love story. It's got the devil in it. It's got all kinds of supernatural elements to it. So really excited about that one. And then I have another action movie coming out called. We're working on the title right now. I think it's going to be called uh, Coastal Extraction. So a lot of cool stuff in the works, man. A lot of cool stuff.
Awesome. No, we're excited. And again, always leave some room for round three. Another interesting project as well, too, that I saw that they're doing a prequel of is Rambo, which your dad was in the second Rambo. Would there be any interest of maybe joining that prequel film they've called upon?
I would love to. I know some of the producers behind that film, and I've had conversations with them. And I think they're really trying to make this a true origin story. And I don't think they're going to be able to bring back anybody, from whether it's Stallone or my dad's character from Rambo 2. But again, if that happens, great. I know those. I know all the people over there, so we're definitely I've worked for them before, and if we get a chance to do something else, I'll be happy to. We're always chit chatting, and but I'm excited for them to get that out there. I love these origin stories of these classic movies. I think it's going to be so cool. If I get a chance to jump into one of them, that would be great. Maybe people will see President Down like, oh, he's he can definitely do that. So we'll see. But I love it. I love any of these new action origin stories that they're going to come out. It's so fun to watch. Just like kind of the history of like Cobra Kai, how that kind of came about. I think people are seeing that people want to see those worlds again.
And also, too, speaking of Stallone, they're also working on a film on the making of the first Rocky. And I know last interview we were talking about The Offer, and the guy
Yes.
that played Al Pacino is
Hmm.
playing Stallone in
Oh,
that movie.
perfect.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that as well, too.
He was a terrific actor. I forget his name, but he was very good. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I literally was watching 2 nights ago with my girlfriend. We were watching the making of Jaws. I'd seen it a while ago. This was an updated version. But again, anything the making of is just incredible. Like people should definitely go see how they made Jaws. It's unbelievable that this movie even got made, and
Yeah.
was one of the most successful movies ever. So anything the making of, all that stuff, I love it. On my next film, I'll try to do a good job of the making of, whether maybe it's President Down 2 or something down. It doesn't have to be the president, it could be anything, but
Yeah.
that would be super fun to do that.
And last question, we always have to leave off whenever you're not working. What shows are you binge watching today?
Right now, I'm watching The Terminalist, Dark Wolf. Really excited about that. I have a bunch of buddies that worked on that, so I'm really excited to support them. And also, I'm just a big fan of the show. I love Chris Pratt, Taylor Kitsch. They're great guys. I love the storyline, Jack Carr. Watching that, I just started Wednesday. I really
Oh
liked
yeah.
Wednesday, so I just started the second season of that. And also, oh, what else was I? I was rewatching, funny enough, because I was doing my firefighter movie. I started rewatching Rescue Me with Dennis Leary. That was fun to jump back into that. And what else? Obviously, I'm always going to the movies. I'm seeing all the new stuff that's always coming out. I haven't seen Weapons yet. Really want to see Weapons. I did see, you know what, my favorite movie of the year that I've seen so far was Primitive War.
Mm. Oh yeah, I want to see that. I want to see
It
that.
is so good. Luke Spark, the director, we became friends recently because I was at the premiere, and I can't wait to work with him at some point. This movie, I know it sounds silly because it's dinosaurs in Vietnam. They pulled this off so well. This movie is one of the best last stands that I've ever seen in a
Wow.
film. It's so well done. He pulls it all together. It's got every element. It's got horror. It's got action. It's got, the intensity. It's just this guy did it all, and I'm so proud to support that movie. Very, very cool movie, Primitive War. Definitely go see that.
Amazing, amazing recommendations. I'm excited for Tulsa King, which is coming out, I think the 21st.
Mhm.
There's a lot of good content that's out. President Down, Tubi, if you guys have a chance, check it out. And again, Jesse, really excited to talk this amazing film with you. Excited for your upcoming projects. Really looking forward to round three at some point. And who knows, maybe we'll bump into each other again in a few weeks. But really appreciate you coming back on our show and talking movie talk with us today.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse.